We scaled from $0 to $10 million worth of Airbnbs in 2 years, and we're going to tell you the 3 things we did to make that possible. And we're going to answer a bunch of other questions that people in our audience have asked us about how we start, manage, and scale our own Airbnb business.
We are the Real Estate Robinsons.
Hey guys, I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are real estate investors who quit our day jobs by investing in short-term rentals, and we're here to show you how you can do the same.
All right, so super excited for this video. Something we haven't done before, but we took a bunch of questions from our subscribers and are answering them like rapid fire style here in this video for you guys. So it's gonna range from how we manage our guests, how we scaled our business, and everything in between. So let's get started.
And just a quick side note, our buddy Rob over at Rob Built, he said he did this a few months ago and he really enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
We should do it too.
Yes, you can! Just do it!
All right, first question, STR Toiletries, single use or bulk, do you provide? If someone books a longer stay, do you provide extra? What do you say, Tony J?
Right now, we don't provide any toiletries, but we are looking to add that as an amenity that we offer. And when we do it, it'll be like the bulk style. You know, like in the shower, you'll have like the 3 bottles of
the pumps.
Body wash, shampoo, conditioner. That'll be our approach. I do know some hosts that do like, I've seen like some hosts that do like branded little personalized bottles. Maybe we'll try that out one day, but to start, our goal or our plan is just to go bulk style.
Yeah, so for now, we just leave like dish pods, detergent, hand soap, dish soap, sponge, trash bags.
No personal toilet.
Yeah. All right, next question. Advice for single investors seeking like-minded significant others. This is an adorable question to me.
Come to the STR Summit, January 20th to the 22nd in beautiful Orlando. You guys can meet, go to Disney together. It'll be great.
You'll meet the love of your life.
Yeah, but seriously, I think like getting out and going to like events is probably a great place to meet.
1,000 billion million %. We see this all the time. We go to a ton of events ourselves, and so many people go by themselves. And I can guarantee there are a ton of other like-minded single individuals there that you can connect with.
We've got like our free meetup we have every month.
Yeah.
So if you go to the realestaterobinsons.com/meetup, you guys can attend one of our meetups.
It's here in SoCal.
Yeah.
And invite us to your wedding if you guys.
Yeah, we get front row seats at the wedding if you guys meet at one of our events.
Imagine we're the officiants. We're like, yeah. All right, next question. Do you have any properties that are losing money? And if so, how are you handling that?
We don't have any properties that are losing money. We have had some months where if one property didn't make money, there was a month where a property was like in the red because there was like a big unexpected expense. Like for example, we had a property 2 months ago that was in the red. We had 2 big repairs that need to be done. We had to literally cut out a big section of the floor, and there was like a big leak from the ceiling all in the same month of that same property. When things like that happen, like yeah, the property will lose money that month. Across our portfolio, do we have any where like we look at the end of the year and the property's in the red? That has never happened. Now we do have some months where we don't take a profit distribution. This happens a lot in Josh Tree during the summer months. Like because the summer is so slow in JT, a lot of times we'll just kind of let that money roll throughout the summer. So we might, you know, like August and July when it's super slow, maybe we won't take a profit distribution. There's always money in the account to cover all of the expenses. But if we did have a property that was losing money, here's what I would do. First, I would try and understand why is a property losing money? Like what is the thing that's happening? Is it because the property sitting empty? Is it an occupancy issue? Or is the property maybe fully booked, but the revenue is just low, like the ADR is low? And depending on those 2 things, you'd approach those in different ways. If the property is fully booked, but you're still losing money, I would see if maybe we're pricing too low. Like, is there a way for us to go through and increase our average daily rate so that our revenue comes up? Now, if the property is just sitting empty, that's probably a bigger challenge. And there's a lot of things you can look at to try and solve that problem. But the first thing I would do is I would look at how is your property performing compared to other similar properties in your market. If your property is poor from a design standpoint, from an amenity standpoint, from a photo standpoint, from a review standpoint, now you know what parts of the property you need to go work on to try and get it on par with the other properties in your market. That'll be my advice.
Next question. How to know if a market is oversaturated with Airbnbs? Should you even try in that area?
Like market saturation, I think is a concern for a lot of people. Saturation is like a subjective thing. And just because a market is saturated or because there's a large number of listings in a market, that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be profitable in that market. Every market that you move into, whether it's saturated or not, I think your approach should be the same. You want to look at what do I need to do to be a top competing property at the price point that I'm targeting. If you want to be a luxury listing, then you should be looking at the other luxury listings to understand what you need to do to be at the top of that part of the market. If you want to be more of an economy listing, or maybe you're appealing to the budget-minded traveler, you should be looking at the other budget-minded options in that market and identifying what you need to do to be the top of that kind of pile of listings. So wherever you plan to compete, look at your competition and understand what you need to do to be slightly better than them.
Next question. Well, it's not a question. Share the best experiences you've had with guests sharing your Airbnb. I love that. I can think of 2 really great experiences that were shared with us from guests. One was a couple got engaged at our mini Mojave house, and we have one of those mini like Polaroids at the property, and they took a photo like with the girl like this and the guy on his knee, and they sent us photo of that photo. This was such a memorable stay for us. We actually just got engaged, so that was a top one for me. What do you think?
I can't think of one.
Another one, let me see. Oh yeah, the couple that just got married, I think in somewhere local.
I can't think of one.
They went for their honeymoon to our properties. That was a super cute one too.
I can think of like a funny one that happened recently. Remember the one the VA sent us of the girl in the bathtub at Daisy?
Oh yeah, that was a top one too.
She was like I don't know.
Like an OnlyFans girl, maybe?
Very like
What are you gonna say?
like mature adult type photo. And
Sexy. He's trying to say sexy. He's watching his words because he's my husband.
yeah, but she sent
Great job censoring that.
But she sent that photo, and I can't remember like what she said. She's like, "Hey, I really enjoyed your space. Like, thought you guys might want to share these on your social or something."
And they were like legit nudes, like just like covering herself. Very tastefully done. I loved them and reposted them and deleted them later because our son follows me. So, but that was a top one too. That was a funny one to receive. All right, next question. How to handle neighbor relations? Do you let them know about the business? Ooh, that's a good one.
It depends on the neighbor. We usually do when we're setting up a new property, especially if it's in like a residential area. If we see the neighbors while we're out, we'll go out there, we'll say, hey, I'm Tony, I'm Sarah. We're buying this property, just so you know, it is gonna be a short-term rental. If you ever have any issues or concerns, please don't hesitate to call us first. That way we can address the issue with the guest. I think that is a good approach to take. If your neighbors are calling you first, it means A, they're not disrupting your guest experience. And we do have some neighbors that aren't the most desirable. Reviews have mentioned the neighbors.
Totally, yeah.
If you can avoid any neighbor-guest interaction, that's always a good thing. Second, if you can avoid your neighbor calling Airbnb, that saves you because now Airbnb is involved trying to, mediate whatever issue is happening.
Trying to understand what the concern is, yeah.
And if you get too many complaints from your neighbors from Airbnb, there's some negative repercussions that happen from that as well. But third, and probably most important, is that if your neighbor's calling you, hopefully they're not calling the city or the county and lodging complaints with them.
Which we've also unfortunately experienced.
I think the better relationship you can have with your neighbor, the easier it will be for you to manage that property and deal with issues long term. Some neighbors will just be
very grouchy and rude.
And just exceptionally unhappy with the fact that there's an Airbnb in their neighborhood.
No, God!
There's nothing you'll be able to do to make that person happy. One of our neighbors lodged a complaint with the city because we have like solar pathway lights.
Like on the ground?
On the ground, like leading up to the front door of our property. These are like, pretty inexpensive Home Depot brand solar lights that barely get bright at all. The flash on my iPhone is significantly brighter than the little light emanating from these solar pathway
on the
lights.
like dirt,
on the ground. They're maybe like this big, not even a foot off the ground.
Yeah.
And this neighbor has continued to complain, saying that those pathway lights prevent him from seeing the stars at night next to his house.
Bruh.
Incredibly hard for me to believe because of how dim these lights are and the fact there's only 4 of them.
And another thing he said is that he can't read at night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
He likes to read outside. Did you know that? Yeah. He can't read. I'm like, what? That's not even the worst one I think we've experienced.
We've had one that's like verbally accosted.
Dude, there is one that like I'm low-key afraid of. Our neighbor across the street at one of our properties and is like saying like the most foul, like racist, like
misogynistic, like just
dude,
all kinds of crazy
homophobic,
things.
like literally like think of the worst kind of things you can tell a person. This neighbor has told us, has told our partners, has told our cleaners, has told our handyman, has told our guests.
One of our I guess I have to call the cops.
Yes.
The cops basically said like, I'm sorry, but there's like really nothing that we can do. Like he hasn't assaulted you. He didn't come onto the property. Like he's just yelling really mean things across the street.
Oh, okay.
For this example though, we did not even waste our breath to go meet that neighbor.
Right.
Like our handyman and contractor, like before we actually took the listing live, told us, you know, their interactions with this person. So we already knew.
We knew going into it was going to be.
There's no point. If you get the vibe, like when you're unloading furniture and you kind of see the neighbor, and if you wave at them, I would start there, like read the room, you know, like if they feel like they're curious and might be friendly, definitely recommend going over. We've actually like taken cookies over, but yeah, people like these other neighbors we just listed, I would say don't even bother. I mean,
yeah, and the crazy thing about that neighbor is that he runs a daycare. Who's dropping their kids off with this guy that's like shouting the N-word and, and the B-word?
Scary,
and
seriously.
all kinds of crazy stuff, so.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right, next question. Are mental breakdowns normal with your first property? Girl, they are normal for every single property, I promise you that. What? Seriously. Tony, no. He's cool as a cucumber with every freaking property. He literally, like, nothing phases this man. So if you're like Tony, no, it's not normal. But if you're like me, a regular person, yes.
Here's what I will say that I think will help with some of the overwhelm. First, be very disciplined about creating the right systems and processes in your business. I feel like the better you are about systematizing things, the easier it is to go from 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 30. Second is, I think a good project management software can really change your whole perspective, write everything down. And I feel like that mental release of not trying to, you know, keep track of 30,000 different tasks in your head is what can help with the overwhelm. I really try and systematize things. I try and keep everything written down in a place that I can go to and check regularly. And then the third thing, I think I'm just really good at understanding and accepting the things that I have control of and the things that I don't have control of. Even if it's like a shitty situation and things aren't going how we want them to, if I have control over making that situation better, then I'll take the steps I need to take to make it better. If I don't have control over it, then what point does it make for me to stress and overwhelm myself if it's out of my hands?
Yeah, sounds very logical. Yes, I understand that. But it is much harder to do in real life. Yes!
I understand the logic what you're saying, but like, girl,
A few moments later.
I don't even suffer from like anxiety, but imagine there are a lot of people that do. So if you're like a high anxiety person, this industry is a lot of work. I think people overlook that. Setting up is stressful because you want it to be perfect, right? Then you're not sure if it's perfect and you're like stressing over like, do I take it live now? Or what software do I use? Like there's a lot that goes into this. There's so many small steps in this game that people aren't aware of, and then you start learning about these smaller pieces can become very overwhelming. The best advice I can give you if you are overwhelmed is exactly what Tony said in the beginning, is be as organized as you possibly can. That is probably my biggest fault, I would say. Number 2 is find friends that are doing what you want to do. Go to meetups, become friends on the internet, really connect and make friends with other operators or people interested, co-hosting, whatever. It's so helpful to just vent and bounce ideas off of and get referrals and recommendations. Just like, seriously, I just think like having a support and community of people that are in the space is invaluable. I personally didn't know anybody else. There's so much comfort in that you're not like the only person setting up a property.
hey, I'm not afraid anymore.
So I would say find a homie. Yes! All right, so we got the last and final question for you, Tony J. What was the most important thing to adapt to when scaling?
What's the secret sauce to us being able to achieve that? First, I think is we got laser focused on getting really, really good at doing one thing and one thing only. And that allowed a few things to happen. First is we got good at finding, managing Airbnbs, which is a desirable skill that a lot of people would want to have but don't have. Second, we became known as the kind of go-to people in this space. When someone says like, hey, where can I go learn about Airbnbs? It was Tony and Sarah. Hey, who's doing a lot of really cool things with Airbnbs? It was Tony and Sarah. I think that played a big role in it. And then third, we were very open to the idea of partnering with other investors to scale. We knew that if we wanted to scale quickly, and us not having an unlimited amount of capital meant that we did have to take on partners and outside capital. I think the combination of those three things was really the kind of key part of what allowed us to scale. So yeah, those are like the three most important things. I think choosing your niche, really getting extremely good at that thing, sharing that journey that you're on with other people so they start to recognize your own skills in that space, allowing or accepting capital from other people to allow you to continue to scale once you've exhausted your own capital. I think those are the biggest things.
Great answer, Tony J. Don't you think, guys?
Yes!
Well, that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below. We'll do our best to answer it. But if you're on Instagram, give me a follow. I'm at Tony J. Robinson. My wife is at Sarah Rad. If you're on TikTok, you can follow us at The Real Estate Robinsons. But that is it for today. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are
The Real Estate